Welcome to today's Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to share this one with you because, honestly, it's going to fundamentally shift how you view your past, your old relationships, and that heavy, warm feeling we call nostalgia. We've all been there, right? You're sitting at home, maybe it's late at night, and suddenly you get this overwhelming urge to reach out to an old friend you haven't spoken to in years. But what if I told you that this impulse literally has nothing to do with them and absolutely everything to do with you?
It's such a common, deeply emotional urge. You find yourself scrolling through social media, trying to track down a buddy from high school or an old coworker, and you think, wow, I really miss them. We had such great times. It feels like this pure, affectionate pull toward the past. And you know, society constantly validates this feeling for us. We romanticize it. But today, we're going to uncover the unexpected truth behind this sudden craving. Prepare to have your perspective totally flipped.
All right, let's dive right in. The source material introduces a massive paradigm shift here, calling this feeling thirst. When you're searching high and low for a friend from your past, you aren't actually looking for that specific person. The harsh but honestly liberating truth is, you are thirsty. Your present life is lacking something. You're experiencing a state of emptiness, stagnation, or loneliness right now, in this very moment. Think about it. If you had people in front of you today who perfectly matched your current frequency and intellect, you wouldn't spend a single second looking backwards. You are spiritually or emotionally hungry, and you're just misidentifying that present lack as a longing for the past.
Section 1. The Law of Nature.
To truly grasp why we do this, we have to look at a basic rule of nature. The myth is that we reach out because of this magical, mutual affection that somehow survived the test of time. But the reality? The well doesn't travel to the thirsty. In nature, a spring of water doesn't get up and chase down a thirsty animal, right? The thirsty animal has to move to find the water. If you're the one dialing the phone, searching the names, making the trip across town, you are the one who is lacking. If you were both perfectly aligned and meant to be in each other's lives right now, your paths would naturally cross without all this forced, backwards reaching.
Section 2. The Growth Gap.
So why is it that going back to these old connections almost always feels, well, a little awkward or disappointing? The source offers a brilliant analogy for this. Picture a restaurant you absolutely loved 7 years ago. The food was amazing, the vibe was perfect. You haven't been there in 7 years, but suddenly you crave it. So you go back. You walk in and something's just off. The decor is exactly the same, the menu hasn't changed, even the wallpaper's identical. But somehow, it feels entirely lacking. You sit there feeling a bit awkward and unsatisfied, wondering why it isn't as magical as you remembered.
Here is the crucial point. The restaurant didn't get worse. The past didn't change. You simply outgrew it. Over those last 7 years, your tastes evolved, your standards raised, you experienced better things. You upgraded your life, but that environment stayed exactly where it was. If you're continuously growing as a person, your past will naturally feel outdated when you try to step back into it. Clinging to those old connections, expecting them to fit who you are today, it's ultimately a waste of your time and emotional energy.
To push this idea even further, the source uses an incredibly vivid analogy. Imagine someone who went to isolate themselves up in the mountains 17 years ago. At the time, they had a pager, which back then was cutting-edge technology. Now they come down from the mountains 17 years later, still holding that chunky plastic pager, trying to find a payphone to check their messages. Meanwhile, everyone around them is walking around with modern smartphones, instantly connected to the entire globe. By clinging to the past and refusing to engage with the present, you fail to develop. You literally become the person with the pager in a smartphone world. Reaching into the past just keeps your internal software completely outdated.
Section 3. Redefining duty and family. Now, you might be thinking, okay, it's easy to see how this applies to high school buddies, but what about our own flesh and blood? We often hold on to this traditional concept of duty, particularly the idea of filial piety, that deep respect and obligation we have toward our parents and siblings. We convince ourselves that being a good child or a good sibling means abandoning our busy lives, dropping everything, and traveling back to our hometowns just to show our faces. But the source Takala completely reframes this. True filial piety isn't about sacrificing your progress for nostalgic visits. True duty is actually about living a busy, engaged, and successful life in your present moment.
The source gives us this really profound quote, "Even if they miss you, parents are happiest seeing their child busy and working. If you're putting aside your important work and messing up your own life's progress just to make time for nostalgic family visits, you're ultimately going to struggle. And when you struggle, your parents worry. Creating worry and anxiety for your family because you aren't succeeding in your own life is the true definition of failing your duty. Believe me, your family would much rather you be out there too busy conquering your world than sitting on their couch failing at it."
Section 4. How to revisit the past.
Look, I get it. We're human. Sometimes that urge to visit an old friend, a sibling, or your hometown is just too strong to ignore. If you are going to do it, you need to understand your own motivations first. When you feel that undeniable pull to visit your sister or take a trip back to your childhood neighborhood, recognize that only about 30% of that drive is actually missing the person or the place. A massive 70% of that drive is your own subconscious need. It's your own unfulfilled lack pushing you to move.
So, if you absolutely must go back, do not go blindly indulging in a romanticized idea of nostalgia. The source recommends these specific steps. First, acknowledge that you have a personal, internal reason to go. Remember, you are the thirsty one seeking the well. Second, when you arrive, keep your eyes open and observe. What is it that you're lacking? What is this environment showing you about your current state? Third, absorb those lessons. Fill your spiritual or emotional deficiency by understanding exactly why you needed to see this place again. And finally, once you've learned what you needed to learn, move forward. Don't linger. You've confirmed the past is the past, so let it go.
Which brings us to our final thought for today's explainer. The next time you find yourself hovering over an old contact's name or feeling that heavy tug of nostalgia pulling you backward, just stop. Don't look at your phone, look in the mirror. Ask yourself, before you make that call, what are you actually thirsty for right now in your own life? Fill your own cup in the present, and you might just find that the past can stay exactly where it belongs. Thanks so much for joining me today. I really hope this helps you focus your energy on your incredible present life. Catch you next time.